YouTube! You already know what it is. It's your boy, Drone Angel. Let's go! Alright guys, I got a really good video for you guys today. Yes. And I got 3 people to dedicate this video to today. So let's get started. Alright, number 1. This guy has been really instrumental in my transformation into what I'm doing right now. Anytime I need someone to talk to about a certain subject, like in real estate I'm getting to right now, he can call on. I could count on him. I could call him. I could count on him, and he'll be there. His name is Clyde. He's a barber, my friend and brother out of North Charleston. I want to say thank you, man. Thank you for the support. And then I just spoke to this guy yesterday. Another person I'm dedicating this video to is Emmanuel. He's my real estate guru, one of my real estate gurus that's helping me with some of my projects I'm doing. And thirdly is Jorge. He's my godfather. I met him in the oil field. He lives in Colorado. He's been, man, great words of advice, encouraging, motivating me every morning, every day. Say keep going, keep pushing, keep making these videos for you guys. And so that's what we're gonna do. But before we get into it, we got some housekeeping. Clean up, everybody clean up, clean up, clean up, clean up. Yeah. Okay. So for housekeeping today, I made some videos already and some shorts about this, but in order to fly a drone, you need a recreational license if you're gonna fly for fun, just strictly for fun, or you need a Part 107 license if you want to be compensated for your drone services. You're gonna have to have a license if you're gonna fly these drones. So I don't know what's going on or the common misconception about these drones. It's just a toy. No, you have to have a recreational license or a Part 107 license. Recreational is just for fun. Part 107 is for monetary. It's for money. All right. Next, I made some videos on this already too, but I want to reiterate and make sure people understand, because this drone life is a lot to it, but I'm going to break it down, make it fun and easy for you guys. All right, so for drones that are 0.55 pounds or less, you don't have to register your drones. For drones 0.5 pounds or more, you have to register your drones. Drones greater than 55 pounds, it's a special registration for your drone, okay? All right. So today's video is going to be about airspace, and we're going to be coming out of the PHAK, which is the Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. All right. And the chapter we'll be coming out of for airspace is chapter 15. And where I go to get this information is FAA.gov. So all you gotta do is put in Google www.faa.gov and put in airspace, and what you'll populate is chapter 15, airspace, Federal Aviation Administration.gov. Cool. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys a picture of what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to have different classes of airspace. And here's a depiction of that right there. You got class A, which is that red. You have class B, which is the yellow. You have class C, which is the green. And you have class D, which is the orange. Class G airspace, which is the purple. And then class E is the blue. So this is what we're going to be talking about. It's very important that you guys understand where airspaces you guys are flying your drones, because if you guys go into some controlled airspace without prior authorization, you guys can get your license revoked and get your drones taken away from you, as well as be fined. So let's make sure that we cover our bases so we can protect our license and protect others when we're flying. So, Class A airspace. When we're talking about airspace, we have controlled airspace and uncontrolled airspace. So, for controlled airspace, we're coming out of the PHAK, the Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, Chapter 15, Airspace. Controlled airspace is the generic term that covers the different classifications of airspace and defined dimensions within which air traffic control ATC service is provided in accordance with the airspace classification. Controlled airspace consists of Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, Class E. All right, we're going to begin into the Class A airspace. This is what it is right here. All right. Class A airspace is generally the airspace from 18,000 feet MSL. MSL means mean sea level, up to and including flight level 600, which is 60,000 feet. All right, flight level 600, 60,000 feet, guys, including the airspace overlaying the waters with 12 nautical miles of coast of the 48 contiguous states and Alaska, unless otherwise authorized. All operations in Class A airspace is conducted under Instrument Flight Rules, IFR. We'll be diving into that a little bit later, into future videos about IFR flying and VFR flying. But as a drone pilot, you really don't have to know that, but it's good to know to be a well-rounded aviator. Okay, let's get into Class B. This also controlled airspace. And this is where a majority of our airports lie, within the Control B airspace. Okay. Class B airspace is generally airspace from the surface to 10,000 feet MSL surrounding the nation's busiest airports in terms of airport operations of passenger enplanements. The configuration of each Class B airspace area is individually tailored, consists of surface air and 2 or more layers. Some Class B airspace resemble upside down wedding cakes and is designated to contain all published instrument procedures once an aircraft enters the airspace. ATC clearance is required for all aircraft to operate in the area, and all aircraft that are so cleared receive separation services within the airspace. So as a drone pilot, recreational or Part 107, you must be cleared to be operating in control airspace, Control B airspace. You must be cleared. You must have clear authorization prior to flying in Class B. It's very important. Or you have the potential to lose your license, potential to lose your drone, being fined, going to jail. So guys, this is very, very important. Listen, I'm here to help you guys. All right, let's talk about Class C. Class C airspace is also controlled airspace, okay? Class C airspace is generally airspace from the surface to 4,000 feet above the airport elevation. Above the airport elevation. It's not mean sea level anymore. Above airport elevation for Class C airspace. Charted in MSL. So when you see it on the charts, when we're going over the aeronautical charts, we will be talking about those numbers associated with each airspace. When it's depicted on those charts, the sectional charts, they are depicted in MSL. But we'll go over that in a future video about sectional charts, MSL versus AGL. We're going to help you out here on Drone Angel. Woo! All right, let's continue to go. All right, an operation control tower, let's back up. So Class C airspace is generally airspace from the surface to 4,000 feet above the airspace, airport elevation, charted MSL, surrounding those airports that have an operational control tower, are serviced by a radar approach control, and have a certain number of IFR operations or passenger impalements. Although the configuration of each Class C area is individually tailored, the airspace usually consists of a surface area with a 5 nautical radius, an outer circle with a 10 nautical radius that extends from 1,200 feet to 4,000 feet above airport elevation. Each aircraft must establish two-way radio communication with ATC facilities providing air traffic services prior to entering the airspace. Thereafter must maintain those communications within the airspace. Okay, so it's controlled airspace. You must have prior authorization prior to flying our drones into Class C airspace. Moving along, Class D. All right, Class D airspace is generally from the surface to 2,500 feet above the airport elevation, charted in MSL. Surround those airports that have an operational control tower. The configuration of each Class D airspace area is individually tailored, and when the instrument procedures are published, the airspace is normally designed to contain the procedures. Arrival extensions for instrument approach procedures, AAPs, that's instrument approach procedure, IAPs, may be Class D or Class E airspace. Unless otherwise authorized, each aircraft must establish two-way radio communication with the ATC facility providing air traffic services prior to entering the airspace, and thereafter maintain those communications while in the airspace. All right, that was Class D, controlled airspace. Woo! Now we're moving along. All right, so we're talking about Class E airspace. We're talking about airspace where you're not in those classes of airspace that we talked about previously in this video. It's going to be Class E everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere. Class E airspace everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere. Class E airspace, okay? So let's read it. Class E airspace is controlled airspace not classified as Class A, Class B, Class C, or Class D airspace. A large amount of the airspace over the United States is designated as Class E airspace. So if I misspoke earlier in the video about it not being controlled, it is controlled. Class E airspace is controlled everywhere, everywhere. Class E airspace. All right, and that's controlled. This provides sufficient airspace for the safe control and separation of aircraft during IFR operation. Chapter 3 of the Aeronautical Information Manual, AIM, explains the various types of Class E airspace. So for more information about Class E airspace, go to AIM, Chapter 3. Sectional and other charts depict all locations of Class E airspace, with bases below 14,500 feet MSL and areas where charts do not depict a Class E base. Class E begins at 14,500 feet MSL. In most areas, the Class E airspace base is 1,200 feet AGL. In many other areas, the Class E airspace is either the surface or 700 feet AGL. Some Class E airspace begins at MSL altitude depicted on the charts instead of an AGL altitude. Class E airspace typically extends up to, but not including, 18,000 feet MSL, the lower limit of Class E airspace. All airspace above flight level 600, which is 60,000 feet, is Class E airspace. Everywhere, everywhere, Class E airspace. All right, moving along. We're going to Class G, uncontrolled airspace. Class G airspace, uncontrolled airspace, or Class C airspace is the portion of the airspace that has not been designated as Class A, B, C, D, or E. It is therefore designated uncontrolled airspace. Class C airspace extends from the surface to the base of the overland airspace. Although ATC has no authority or responsibility to control airspace, to control air traffic, pilots should remember there are visual flight rules for VFR minimums that apply to Class G airspace. Okay, what I like to talk about now is the confusion I had about this airspace. And what I would like to clarify is this. When we're talking about Class G airspace and Class E airspace is this. You got Class G coming up from the surface, and Class E is like stacking onto Class G and other airspaces. So when you're looking at Class E, it's everywhere but where the controlled and uncontrolled airspace lies. So when you think of Class E airspace, it's everywhere, and it's like a claw. It's stacking on top of these layered cakes of airspace. So that's something important that you have to remember about Class E airspace and how it operates. It's like a claw, guys. It stacks on top of it. And we're going more in shorts and future videos when I'm talking about that claw when it comes to this airspace and the confusion with Class E airspace. But other than that, that wraps up this video with classes of airspace. Where you can find this information is the PHAK Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, Chapter 15, Airspace. This is Joan Angel. As we like to say when we tune out, we fly safe, we fly often. Peace!